And I hope by the time they get older that there are going to be so many more. You know, you're helping pave the way in so many ways. And then we've watched so many fantastic women at this show that are bringing the light that girls fish too. And it's not because we want to be someone that we're not. We want to be who we are and feed the passion that's within us. And I was born with that, just like my daughters were. And it's just helping others to see that you can do it. It's about the time, the effort, and all the work that you're willing to put into it. You're going to get back whatever you put into it. So.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your fearless host, Angie Scott.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I have a very special guest for you today that I'm really excited. I can't believe I haven't had her on the show yet. She's been in the industry a long time, grew up in the industry, and I look forward to her sharing a little bit about her story with everyone. So Melinda Mize, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and it's so good to finally catch up with you. You're just everywhere. That's what it is, you know. I don't think either of us slow down very much.
Right.
So it's good to finally be in the same place with you. I watch your adventures every week, so it's really good to get here face to face with you.
Yeah, awesome. So I think I first got connected with you when you were working for Hook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and before that I worked for Costa, and before that Bradco Outdoor Brand. So I've done a little bit of everything in the industry now.
Yeah, for sure. And who are you working for now?
So Bahio Sunglasses, brand new brand. We just launched in March, so it's been full throttle ever since.
And what do you do for them?
So I manage our freshwater community. That's what we call it. It's like freshwater marketing, but we believe fishing is a community, so we call it our community.
Right. So how did you get into this whole crazy business?
Oh, goodness. See, I grew up with parents that both fished, so I never thought it was weird that women fished. And so my mom was a huge influence in my life, and my dad, and I traveled with them whenever I was growing up, and I got the opportunity to really learn about the industry, and I fell in love with it. And it became my dream not just to fish, but to make a living in the industry, because I felt like I was more consistent at getting a paycheck real life than getting a paycheck in a tournament. So I definitely needed to work in the industry.
Yeah, so it's always good to, if you know what you're passionate about, to just stick with that, because that's, I think, what life is all about. I feel really sad for people that kind of get stuck in these ruts and they're not happy with what they're doing. And I was that way for a while. I mean, I worked in the music industry, which was my passion when I was, younger, and I did that, but I was sitting behind a desk all day long, and I'm such an outdoors person that it was really starting to grind on me. And I actually came across this book that kind of changed everything for me. I don't know if you've ever heard of this author named Jen Sincero. She wrote this book called You Are a Badass.
Oh, I have heard
You have heard of that?
Yes.
And so I read that book, and then she has another one called You're a Badass at Making Money.
Yes.
And I was like, and it's all about just, following your passion, just throwing caution to the wind, because the universe has your back. You're meant to do what you're meant to do, And so if you just go for it, which is a scary thing, but if you just go for it, oftentimes things end up working out, and that's been the case for me for sure. When I started this podcast and got into the whole fishing and boating industry. And so I encourage listeners out there to, follow your passion like you have, which has been awesome.
I have two nephews. One of them just graduated high school this year. I have another one that's 15, and that's been my biggest tip for him. Find something that you love to do every day, because if you do, you're not going to be unhappy, because if not, you're going to get burnt out, and you're going to feel like a hole in you. There's a hole in you, or part of your life that's just not really fulfilled. But if you can find a way to work in something that you're really passionate about, that you want to make a difference in and make it better, you're never going to feel like you're really working. You're going to feel like you're making a difference and you're being part of a solution. And I feel like that has been what I've been doing the last 10 years.
For sure. So let's talk a little bit about tournament fishing. So when did you first start? You probably started super young, right?
I did. My first tournament I ever fished, we used to fish on Memorial Day every year. There's this big bass tournament. They started me at 7.
Wow.
And it is something that we still do to this day. We all try to go fish it. We'll do boys against girls, we'll split up. Kids against adults. It's fun. Now my nephews are involved in it, and I can't wait for my daughters to fish it for the first time. But I got involved with tournament fishing as soon as my parents could sign a waiver for me to go. So I started fishing the BFLs. Then I started in the Bass Opens. I fished as a co-angler. The Women's Bassmaster Tour came around, and I had the opportunity to fish that for a few years. And that was an incredible experience. And I've gotten to fish a couple of the LBAAs.
Okay.
Just 2.
Okay.
Because my schedule never lines up. But now I'm fishing the BFLs, the Toyota Series, the Bass Opens, and anything local I can get on the water for.
That's awesome. I just started with the LBAA. I had my first tournament last year as a co-angler just to kind of see how it all worked, and then jumped right in with both feet as a boater, which is kind of crazy, but that's kind of how I learn, is just to do it. Now, I do see, these ladies are pretty amazing, and I probably could have got a lot more experience, like spending some more time at the back of the boat fishing with all these amazing ladies. But for me, I kind of I'm a captain. I kind of like to be in control, and it's definitely a learning process, but it's been a lot of fun. So
I think it's important to challenge yourself, and you learn something every time you're on the water, and sometimes it might be you learn what not to do, and sometimes mistakes are costly, but they make us better for our next adventure on the water every time we go. And people tell me I get just as excited every time I catch a fish as I did whenever I was little. My brother asked me last year, he was like, "Are you ever going to stop giggling?" And I was like, "No, if I do, I'm going to stop fishing." Because I get so excited, and it's exciting to get to spend time on the water with somebody else that you don't know, because then you get to know them, what makes them tick, and you learn little things from them. So even from your co-anglers, you might pick up something that they're doing, because everybody has this special thing that they do better than someone else. Mm-hmm. And I've learned so much through the years just by fishing with other people.
Absolutely. I've learned so much from my co-anglers already, and even in practice, I always try to practice with somebody, although I do think I do want to try doing some practice just on my own sometime, just to see if my mindset is different, because I'm always thinking about my co-angler.
I do fish a lot by myself in practice because I'm so concerned with if they're having a good time, and I put so much pressure on myself in practice that sometimes I need that time out there to just get my mind right, because I'm already nervous leading into a tournament. I get terribly nervous, even though I've been doing it for years. And it's just because you are so passionate and you want to do well that you don't want to ever accept mediocrity. And so I'll get so nervous. I need a day by myself. And I always take the first day that I'm practicing by myself. Then I'll add somebody to the boat if I'm ready. But if I still feel like I need a little more time figuring out things, then I might not do it. So I've had a couple of days. And that's just for my comfort, because I don't want to put any extra pressure on myself bringing somebody else along.
Yeah, I definitely need to try that on the next tournament. We've got the Classic coming up in September.
That's such a fun event, though. I got to fish that. I won a wild card. Okay. I won the Dardanelle wild card and got to fish the Classic, and it was such an incredible experience. And I have to say, I've fished tournaments that were co-ed, and I've fished female-only tournaments, and there's something about the camaraderie that you get from a bunch of female anglers. And whenever I came back from that tournament, I had heard the AOY speeches, and I teared up, because everybody has different dreams. My dreams may be different than yours or somebody else's, but I watched people's dreams come true at those tournaments. And it really just showed me that you have to respect everybody's journey. If it's different than yours, that's incredible. But to have an avenue like the LBAA that is there for women who feel comfortable with other women is powerful. And to watch people's dreams come true, like fishing the classics, like your first year as a boater, I mean, that's incredible. And it's going to be an experience that I hope that you leave with that same feeling I did, because it was so amazing to see all these incredible women doing all these great things.
Yeah, they always amaze me at every tournament, and these ladies have to sacrifice so much to be able to fish these things, and it's just amazing to watch them. I mean, I fish it, but I kind of feel like a little bit of an outsider, not for any reason that, on them or anything like that, but just myself, because they've been doing it so long and I'm so brand new to it, but it's just, I'm in awe every time. And, I'm really looking forward to the Classic. It's my first 3-day tournament, so that's going to be interesting to see, I'm exhausted after 2 days, so 3 days will be interesting, but
it really will. And the best thing about a 3-day tournament is you can stumble one day and you can still be right back at it. The one that I got to fish, I had 7 pounds the first day, and Linda Gessner had 20 pounds the first day. And I ended up coming in second by ounces, because the next 2 days I was able to put something together. And so don't ever think that you're out of it in a 3-day event. It allows so much room to move, which is scary if you start at the top, because you're the one that everybody's chasing. But it'll be a great time. Definitely feel like fishing in shape is definitely different than being in shape. I always tell people I'm out of fishing shape, and people don't understand what that means until you're fishing a 3-day tournament and you're absolutely worn out. You're not just physically worn out, but you're mentally exhausted. And so I have been trying to walk and get healthier this year, eating a little more clean than my normal Mexican food every day, and beer. So I've been trying, but still fished a 3-day the other day, and I was worn out. I call it a fishing hangover after it, because you just kind of decompress. But there's a day where you just need to take it for yourself after that.
Yeah, I imagine. So yeah, when I get home from ICAST, I'm going to be hitting the gym, hitting the rowing machine. I think rowing, they say, works out 80% of your muscles. So I figure that's the most efficient workout. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on. But
I may need to try that. Yeah. I've been doing these little arm workouts that I find on YouTube.
Nice. So you mentioned Linda Gessner. It's funny you mentioned her, because that's who I was picturing in my head when I was talking about these ladies that have been doing it for so long, and they're so amazing, and who I could have benefited from fishing from the back of the boat with. I hear from all these other co-anglers, all the amazing things they learn, and I'm kind of jealous a little bit.
Yeah, I actually took a step back, and I fish as a co-angler now. On the co-ed events that I fish, like the BFLs, the Toyotas, and the Bass Opens. And honestly, I did that because I'm a mom of a 5- and 6-year-old little girls. And so I got to realizing whenever I was fishing these week-long events, I was having severe mom guilt. You were talking about the sacrifices other ladies make. Some of them are moms, and I wasn't doing well, mentally, and I wasn't being my best on the water, too, and I realized that. And so the last 2 years, I've fished strictly as a co-angler, and it's changed my life, because I enjoy fishing so much more, and I don't have that added weight that I'm not being a good mom, because that was too much for me to carry, and I realized that. And so now I have so much more fun on the water, and I can just relax and use my instincts. And I think that if you have something hold you back, whether it's finances or a relationship or being a parent, you're never going to be able to be your best self on the water. You're always going to have that in the back of your mind, and fish different because of it. And right now I'm in a great place overall, and that allows me to be better on the water, honestly.
So talk about your girls. So you're getting them into fishing pretty good, aren't you?
Oh my goodness. They have loved fishing since they were born. It's the weirdest thing. You always think that people try to make little girls into these breakable things that need to be in little cute dresses and bows all the time. And these girls love worms. They love insects. They love fish. They've wanted to pet fish ever since they were born. But they'll go all day. They want to fish longer than I do, which is mind-blowing.
That's awesome.
But the biggest thing we do is we take them fun fishing. We don't necessarily just take them bass fishing. We take them to catch crappie or bluegill. We run noodles for catfish. But we just teach them to love outside more than anything. And with that, they find this joy. And we never pressured them to fish. If they don't want to fish, we don't, but they always have wanted to.
Yeah.
So we've been blessed. And then one of them hunts, one of them doesn't hunt.
Okay.
Like my 5-year-old has a imaginary pet deer, so she's super anti-hunter because her pet deer, imaginary now,
Right.
could get hurt. So their characters, they keep me laughing, but they make me better every single day. They push me to be better. So my 6-year-old, I always say, my girls will humble you quicker than anything. They tell everybody that they can fish better than me because Mommy only catches one bass. Because a lot of times you're fishing really tough lakes.
Yep.
And as a co-angler, if you're fishing behind a really talented angler, there's not a lot left.
Right.
And so I've brought in one a lot of times, and I was thankful for those one
Right.
every time.
Yeah. My fear is always 0.
I've lived that fear too many times.
Yeah.
But, and so I actually weighed in. I did really good in a tournament the other day. I won one last fall, and then I did really well in a tournament. And
Nice.
they were there getting to watch me weigh in on that big stage. And I weighed in a limit that day, and they're like, Mommy, is this your first limit to catch? And I'm like, girls, you all be nice to me. So they keep me on my toes, and they push me to be a better person, a better human, and a better mom every day.
Well, it's such a blessing. I talk to so many people where they just can't get their kids into fishing. They're just not interested. And so you're super blessed to have that.
Oh my gosh, I know. Because I reached a time in my life where I really didn't want to go either. I was involved in every school program, every sport. And so probably from like 14 to 18, I really took a step back in fishing. But I think it made me hungrier whenever I actually got to get back on the water. But some people, it's just not their thing, dance or gymnastics, and that's what doing fishing. They've motivated me to fish more because I want to tell them to dream whatever dream they want. Like, it doesn't have to be fishing. Find your passion and let's go after it. Like, if it's softball, if it's, I don't know, disc golf, like, you name it. But let's get you involved. And so it's more of just creating opportunities for them to find what they love. But so far, the outdoors is their thing, for sure.
That's awesome. They're going to grow up like you did, not realizing that there's not that many women in the sport.
And I hope by the time they get older that there are going to be so many more. You're helping pave the way in so many ways. And then we've watched so many fantastic women at this show that are bringing the light that girls fish too. And it's not because we want to be someone that we're not. We want to be who we are and feed the passion that's within us. And I was born with that, just like my daughters were. And it's just helping others to see that you can do it. Mm-hmm. It's about the time, the effort, and all the work that you're willing to put into it. You're going to get back whatever, you're going to get back whatever you put into it. So.
And it's great with the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation, what they're doing with the Women Making Waves campaign, and a lot of the influencers are here at ICAST. We're going to do another event at the Miami Boat Show this January, so it's great to see an organization like that stepping up and seeing, that we need to support women, get them more recognized in the industry. They challenged us, the president of the RBFF, challenged us to walk around the show and take a look at some of the signage and marketing and see how many booths are representing women in their marketing. And I think I was talking to Nicole Jacobs earlier, and she had walked around, and I think she said she only found 5.
And that's one thing that I'm really pumped about Bahio. They believe there's nobody different on the water, and we have, I think, 3 women on our booth, and it's something that I've seen the focus more and more, though, from brands. I'm hearing so much positivity. Even if I'm not sponsored by them, I've been amazed at how many people who have been following, like, what I've been doing on the water. And that's different. It hasn't always been that way.
Right.
I mean, before it was a boys' club, that's what I call it. But I think the tone has changed so much in the last few years, even. And I think that there's been so much more positive movement around women in fishing. I never get treated like a woman. I get treated like an angler from the other anglers. And that says a lot. Whenever I was 18, 19, I was treated like a girl, you know. But I think it's just growing up, meeting people, gaining respect, but trying to be authentic and just showing that I love it. I don't care. Yeah. Like the bass don't care that I'm a girl,
No,
you know. They don't care that somebody's black, brown, green. They don't care. They care about what you're going to feed them and if you entice them to bite. And so I think if people cared less about people's political affiliations, their gender, anything, it would be a better place all the way around. Like if people had the same mentality that bass do.
Right. Yeah, we can learn a lot from bass.
Yeah. I mean, as how to treat people. Just bite.
Yeah. That's great.
We're putting the work in. So.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you know, and you're authentic, like you mentioned authenticity. You've gained that respect, and there's a lot of other ladies out there right now gaining that respect, and I think that those ladies that are really getting after it and showing these guys that, hey, we're just as good, you know, are really helping to move that needle.
Yeah, it's just showing that, hey, we love this too. We want to be a part, and it doesn't have to be me or you. It's just about going fishing. And at the end of the day, my boyfriend and I talk a lot about it. He's been my huge supporter because he actually was like pushing me to get back and fish in more tournaments. And he's just like, you know, it's fishing. It is not rocket scientists, brain surgery, anything. It's fishing. Women can do those amazing things too. But it's just about loving what you do. And people take it so seriously sometimes. They get caught up in it and don't realize that at the end of the day, it's a passion. It's something that brings joy to our life.
I always like what Jen Ripple says, fishing is fishing and fishing is supposed to be fun.
Exactly. I'm telling you, that is the biggest key right there. I told a young lady yesterday, she came to the booth, she's going to be an incredible asset to the female journey. And I was just like, don't ever take it so seriously you make this work. Because whenever you do, you're going to lose some of that fire. Because I did it. And taking a step back allowed me to fall in love with it again. But if you fall in love with fishing, you'll never be disappointed if you lose. I mean, you're going to be disappointed, but you'll work harder. You won't be focused on the financial aspect. You'll always love it, even if you can't fish professionally because of finances. You'll still go fishing, you know. But if you just focus on greatness or finances or you know, being a superstar, one day that fire will burn out because you're doing it for the wrong reason. But if you do it because you love it, you'll always be motivated.
It's great advice. I could chat with you all day. I know you got to get back over to the booth, but do you have anything coming up that you want to mention? Or
I'm going fun fishing. I'm going smallmouth fishing.
Nice.
That's another thing that everybody should do. Take some time. I'm going up north for a week.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Detroit to catch big smallmouth, and we may make a journey over Sturgeon Bay, somewhere I haven't fished. I try to fish places I've never fished before. But then I've got some big tournaments coming up this fall. I've got the Toyota Championship, and then I just qualified for the Bassmaster Team Trail Championship that I get to fish with my boyfriend. Yeah. So I'm super excited about both of those and ending the year on a high note.
Yeah. Well, I just got back from Lake Erie smallmouth fishing. Yeah, I got back on Saturday. And let me tell you, these fish, I don't know what it was, but I mean, you set the hook, and the next thing you know, this fish is jumping up out of the water, and then it's back down, and then it's the battle.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped up about that.
Awesome.
And then I'm going tuna fishing up north, too. So I have these bucket list fish that I've been working on. I have a goal of a 10-pounder. I've never been offshore fishing, which I'm about to remedy. I caught a paddlefish this year. It was a 70-pounder. Well, I've caught multiples, but the biggest was 70. And so I'm just trying to challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone and do new things.
Nice. We got to fish the Disney chain yesterday for a couple hours, and I was really hoping for that 10-pounder. I mean, we caught a lot of fish, but it was just so much fun. And so you're right, those things are so important to get to do. So awesome. Well, I'll be following you. Is there somewhere where people can follow your fishing adventures?
Yeah, Melinda Mize on Facebook, and then melinda.hayes is weird on Instagram. Okay. And it's Hays, no E. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll put links to that in the show notes for this episode. I'm so glad we finally got the chance to do this, and in person is always more fun than over the phone. So excited for you, and we'll be following your adventures.
Same with you. I can't wait to see where you go next.